The station covering all of the DMV. This is
The Lieutenant
DC
Governor and I
News
fully
Now.
support the Speaker's proposed constitutional amendment.
Coming up, on the news at noon, Governor Moore addressing the people on reproductive rights in the state of Maryland. Will have an update coming up. And later, the Commanders may be under new ownership sooner rather than later. And good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for the news at noon. I'm Mark Hall. Happening now, over 200 political prisoners from Nicaragua are arriving at Dulles Airport. And they've been freed by the government, and that's according to the White House. The wife of opposition leader Alex Maradiaga tells the Associated Press that her husband is on that plane. So what you're looking at now is a live look at Dulles International Airport. People on the plane include political and business leaders, journalists, students that locked up for speaking out against the government and President Daniel Ortega. Now, the freed prisoners include people who were going to run against Ortega but were in prison before the elections, and some of their family members as well. Now, we're learning from the State Department that moments ago the medical care is set up for everyone and legal help is also available. Now, on the world stage, this is being looked at as a signal from Nicaragua that they'd like to reestablish relations with the United States. Well, meteorologist Damon Madsen joins us now. And Damon, obviously, you and I have a minimal interest in the upcoming Super Bowl. So what we do share a common interest in is the weather. So what do we have to look forward to?
Always a fan of the nice weather.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what we got going on out there today. Yeah, this is quite a stretch of warmth for us. Yesterday, we climbed all the way into the 60s. Looks like we could do that today, but it does come with a little bit of a catch. We have a wind advisory right now back across the mountains of western Maryland and West Virginia that goes until early tomorrow morning. Now, this wind advisory stops once you go toward the lower elevations to the east, but that doesn't mean it's not blustery elsewhere. It certainly is across the entire DMV. We've had steady southerly winds. This has been helping to bring up those temperatures, but we've had those steady at about 10 to 20 miles an hour throughout much of the morning. And then occasionally we've had wind gusts going to that 25 to 30 mile per hour range from the Chesapeake Bay all the way to the I-81 corridor. But you see these darker reds here shaded into the west. Those are locally higher wind gusts that are being recorded at times into the 40, if not 50 mile per hour range. And that's where we have that wind advisory going until we get into the morning tomorrow. So it's all blustery because there's a pretty strong storm system passing by to our north and west. A lot of precipitation going on over the Great Lakes and even off into parts of the northeast. But we are just far enough south between the warm and cold front of this system that we continue to stay dry but cloudy and blustery. That's part of the reason we're seeing all of that cloud cover and most of the winds to go along with that. So here you go. The rest of this afternoon, it's unfortunately not going to be as sunny as yesterday was at times, but we still are going to have those extremely warm temperatures, mid-60s by the time we hit the 3 o'clock hour, feeling more like April than February. Now, as we get into the day tomorrow and this weekend, things get a little bit more tricky. There's going to be another storm system developing down across the southern part of the country. It's got some cold air with it, plenty of moisture. Now, as this comes up the east coast, the big question is, will we see any wintry weather from this storm on Sunday? I'll have a full check of that forecast here in just a bit.
Damon, thank you. New details today in the deadly shooting in Laurel, Maryland. Police say the victim, 32-year-old Antoine D. Conyers. It happened in an area near a big shopping center, which includes a Sam's Club and a Walmart. As to what comes next, that remains under investigation. Well, preserving women's reproductive rights in the state of Maryland. That's what Maryland governor, along with other top state leaders, are looking to do with a series of legislation announced this morning. DC News Now's reporter Tosin Fakile is in the studio with more. And so, Tosin, how many bills have been put forth and what exactly is the goal?
Yeah, we've been covering this all morning. So state leaders say right now there are 4 bills headed to the floor. One of those bills enshrines reproductive rights in the Maryland Constitution. All 4 bills, Maryland Governor Wes Moore says he supports. So protecting women's reproductive health care has been a major topic for several states after Roe v. Wade was overturned by the Supreme Court. Governor Wes Moore has said under his administration, Maryland will be a safe haven for abortion rights and a place where women and providers are protected. So here's a breakdown of what those 4 bills in the legislative package are. The first bill is the one that enshrines reproductive rights in the constitutional amendment for the state of Maryland. The second bill is the Reproductive Health Protection Act. The third piece of legislature is House Bill 477, which would make sure students have access to reproductive health care services. We're talking things like contraception or emergency contraception. The final bill is Productive Health Services Protected Information. Yeah, a mouthful. Basically, what that does is a data privacy bill.
We're doing it in the face of those aggressive tactics that Madam Speaker referred to from other states like Texas and Missouri. Those states, what they're trying to do is to intimidate providers and patients. They're trying to scare away Maryland's providers and patients from providing legal health care that's legal here in the state of Maryland. We're not going to let that happen. That's what these 4 bills address together.
Myself and the Lieutenant Governor, we not only support these bills, when these bills make them to my desk, I will sign them.
Yeah, the governor stressing just how much support he has for this package. The proposed amendment to Maryland's Constitution, so just voters know, it will have to come before voters in the November 2024 general election. Mark.
Tosin Fakili live in the studio. Thank you so very much. Well, new at noon, the House unanimously approved a resolution to condemn the Chinese Communist Party's use of a spy balloon over the country last week, and lawmakers say that the act is a brazen violation of U.S. sovereignty. And that's according to our media partners at The Hill. The resolution, which passed with bipartisan support, came just after 5 days after the U.S. shot down the balloon. Since then, tensions have increased between the two countries. And we now have an update from the Fairfax Fire and Rescue Department on the 3-alarm apartment fire in Annandale that displaced 22 people. The Fire and Rescue Department announced that fire was caused by an electrical problem, and they're saying that it was an accident and it started in the living room of one of the units. The cause of the fire was determined to be a multi-plug wall adapter. 2 residents of the building were transported to a nearby hospital. There were no reported injuries to firefighters. Well, new video today as an aid convoy makes its way towards the worst hit parts of Turkey after that catastrophic earthquake. Turkey's disaster management agency says over 14,000 people have died. A Syrian human rights organization has reported over 3,000 deaths in that nation as well. And D.C. is showing support for the two nations. People gathered in DuPont Circle for a candlelight vigil to mourn the thousands of lives lost.
It took me hours till I reached my family. It was, I think, the scariest hours in my life. Like, we witnessed bombing, we witnessed with a lot of things, but this was totally different. The feeling, the anxiety, you're scared, but you still have hope. You maintain this hope.
Virginia Tech professor Robert Weiss says the most devastating part of the earthquake was not just the destruction and lives lost, but when it happened.
So many people were present at the time, sleeping. It occurred overnight, and they were in their houses, not maybe even feeling necessarily the onset of it, and so they were kind of taken by surprise.
And it's still not clear how many people might still be trapped in the rubble of thousands of buildings that collapsed, and experts say the survival window for those trapped is closing. After the first 72 hours, the chances of survival goes down to 22%. By the 5th day, those numbers drop to a 6% survival rate. And a cry for help from people in Syria after that deadly earthquake. Some people even coming to grips with losing family members. The Syrian Emergency Task Force, an organization based here in D.C., says that they're doing all they can by advocating that more aid go directly to northwest Syria.
Northern Syria is a place where there are millions of already internally displaced civilians. And then on top of all of this now, there's this massive natural disaster. And the fact is, the United Nations, the European Union, the international community has so far done zero, no assessments, no provision of aid for these areas that were some of the most worst hit by this earthquake.
The world is watching. There are calls on the United Nations to help provide direct aid to the hardest hit areas that are difficult to get to. And the Banneker Douglas Museum has announced the staff portion of their Harriet Tubman statue has been returned to the museum after being stolen around Christmas. The executive director responded to getting the portion of the statue back by saying, quote, "Words cannot describe how relieved we are to get back this precious artwork." Museum officials are still assessing the damage to staff, and they are not sure when the staff will be reinstalled on the statue. Well, a car crashed into a house in Layhill this morning just after 2 o'clock. The crash happened on Woodwell Road off of Alderton Road, according to the Montgomery County Fire and Rescue. The vehicle caught fire after the collision but was soon extinguished. 2 people from inside the home were not injured. The driver of the car was transported to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, and we will bring you up to date as we get more information. Well, the Montgomery County Food Council is looking for a new executive director. The Food Council is a nonprofit organization that connects businesses and nonprofits and government agencies and residents to reliable food access in the county. The new executive director will provide, quote, "vision and leadership and continue the Food Council's successful efforts in the future." And you can apply by sending them an email or through their website. Well, next month, Mayor Bowser will release her budget proposal for the next fiscal year. Tonight, she's hosting a forum to hear from the community. DC News Now's Lex Juarez has what you need to know.
Well, the forum is scheduled for 6 o'clock tonight right here at Jackson Reed High School. This is a time for community members to give their input as the mayor plans next year's budget. They expect hundreds to come out and share their ideas, priorities, and talk about their experiences with which city programs are working and not working. So far, the mayor's office says that feedback from the community is to prioritize crime prevention and public safety, affordable housing, and education. The chief of staff says forums like this influence the budget greatly.
She not only meets with her administration to get what their priorities are and what they want to see investments in, but the residents, this is their opportunity to influence what investments they want to see.
A second forum will be held Saturday at 11 in the morning, and that will be at Eastern High School. If you want to RSVP for any of these forums or would like to just give your input online, you can go to budget.dc.gov. In Washington, I'm Lex Juarez, DC News Now.
Well, DC News Now has received a report from a Fox Business reporter who says that he's heard the sale of the Commanders will happen weeks after the Super Bowl, but the sale could take place before the owners' meeting at the end of March. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell commented on the potential sale.
The Commanders are under a process. That's their process. Ultimately, if they reach a conclusion and have someone that'll be joining the ownership group or buying the team entirely, that's something that the ownership will look at.
Well, that same insider says Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos is the favorite to take over ownership of the team. However, the website Front Office Sports now reporting Snyder may be unwilling to sell to Bezos after the Bezos-owned Washington Post was the first to report on many of the team's scandals. Sources also told Front Office Sports that Daniel Snyder is holding out for a $7 billion bid for the franchise. Well, D.C. council members approved changes to the criminal code that would reduce penalties for crimes such as carjackings and burglaries, but Mayor Bowser did not agree. So what happens next? Well, the criminal code now heads to the Senate. And breaking now, the House has overturned D.C.'s criminal code. Attorney General Brian Schwab released the following statement saying that today's move to overturn our laws is not about making the district safer or more just. It's today's actions are political grandstanding and highlight the urgent need for D.C. statehood. And we will continue, of course, to follow this story both on air and online at dcnewsnow.com and also tonight on DC News Now at 5.